Sanibonani Makhaya, and welcome to another brand new episode of Thetha Lago SABC 1. That's all according to ukuthi singene kwinyanga yesithathu ku-2020 singene, which as it also is the International Women's Month, but also sobe celebrate ukuhlaka 8 March International Women's Day. Today on our topic sobe sikhuluma ngezinto ezibaluleke kakhulu because we're talking about into abayibiza ithi patriarchy, and of course kulokho ahambi sodwa someone sise andiswa uHosethu andiswa uthi Fortune Madlala kuyena ke who's our sign interpreter for today. And this episode is going to be very interesting for me as umuntu omusha because ngikhuluma ngama-roles thina now as abantu abasha besilisa, but also abantu besifazane, because we're talking about who is the gatekeepers of patriarchy.
Nakale dumedisa ka lebitso ke nna Nicolette wa Gamashile ngwana wa kwa Bush Patriarchy Mapulaneng. Melody go ya ka Statistics South Africa palamuka ya basadi mo South Africa ke 51% and while bontate bona ke 49%. Now if we understand yona palo e o tseba gore basadi ke bona ba leng ba bantshi. Now it makes you want to understand gore na how then are we represented president erona ilintate ile monna. What happened? Because we know that South Africa is female, South Africa is definitely young, so you have to now start asking yourself these questions gore na yona patriarchy seraro se re bolela ka sona today mo ga daily Thetha. Are we talking about something that we as basadi are gatekeeping, or who is actually gatekeeping patriarchy? And that's what we're talking about today. Ki rona re etsang pull her down syndrome, or is it the institutions? Ki yona kereke na? Is it religion? Is it society? Ki culture? Ki go dintlong. When you say to a young daughter or a young girl, "Ska apara so because ba ke sa go nyale," what exactly are you saying? But we did go into the streets and we had to find out gore na bona ba so ba reng ka sona serero sa today. A re bone.
You always think you're immune to patriarchy until you are at the receiving end. Igama lami nguLudokazi Ndlazi and I am at your service. Namhlanje we are talking about gatekeepers of patriarchy. Iyanyamezeleka xa ifumana from the other gender okanye xa ifumana kumuntu ofana nawe ihlukumeza more. My story starts when I experienced patriarchy in the boardroom. That ndizingenela ready to kill it to presentation, and a group of gentlemen asked me, "So who's the person who's going to be giving us a presentation?" Very demeaning as well, approach yabo. But ke ayisostory sami ndedwa is we want to hear from abantu abestratweni babathini nabona abantu abatsha. How are they living and surviving in a South Africa in 2020 that is very patriarchal? Masibaba babathini na. Why do you still think in 2020 patriarchy is still quite prevalent?
Naki feel gore it's something that we grow with. From Retswako High we know gore, for example, the father is who we look up to, and then mother comes number 2.
Patriarchy is based on men. It's kundla sendoda.
If you're gonna take my surname upon marriage and so forth, you'll be entitled to follow my customs and my values and so forth. Yeah.
Definitely men are the gatekeepers of patriarchy, and when I've spoken to a lot of men, I've noticed that a lot of men like patriarchy because they benefit from it in a large sense. So there's this unwillingness to change it because of that. And in terms of women, I think it's mostly older women, you know. They've grown up with certain beliefs and they've internalized these beliefs. So they believe certain things about themselves and they believe certain things about other women and about how men should behave as well. So in a lot of ways, they impose these beliefs on other people, which perpetuates the system of patriarchy.
What should we change? One or two things that you think would need to change to get to that stage where we remember that we're human first before we're any gender?
Let's talk. Let's have that conversation whereby, okay, you as a person, these are your certain needs or these are your perspective, and you have the right to have those perspectives as much as I do have the right to have my own perspective.
I think men being the main head of their houses and so forth, they're the ones who are instilling it and so forth. So I think we should give women an equal voice to express their views and so forth.
I think one of the things that we definitely need to unlearn are the social roles that we believe in, gender roles in particular. I think we need to see people first as individuals, and with individuals, you have certain strengths and weaknesses, and that's what we need to work on. And secondly, gender roles are actually a bit unrealistic in this day and age where women work, for example. So you can't be getting home from work and then have a second job, so to speak. When you get home, you're tired, you've been doing all of these things. And women are providers as well, you know. We head households, we pay for stuff as well. So I think there's a lot of unlearning, and these social roles also harm men as well, whereas if a man can't provide, they seen in a certain way. They're seen as weak or whatever connotations that people ascribe to them. So I think that needs to be unlearned.
Well ke nibavile abantu abatsha. Now the question is wena apho ekhaya uzokwenza ntoni na ukugqiba lento?
Ke yona le ikwela ga baswa ba nyoko tšiba gore na yona patriarchy yona if it really does exist, and I say really because sometimes we understand that dilo very differently as batho re nyoko tšiba gore na re thoma kae na gore re kgone go ilukisa, and that is only if it is incorrect to have a patriarchal system. Let's start with you, Ryan. Ryan, do we have a patriarchal system and who does it benefit?
Well, of course we do have a patriarchal system.
Why do you do this?
Because I can't pronounce the word properly.
Oh,
but
okay,
yes,
okay.
We have that system.
Yes. Who does it benefit?
Well, obviously it benefits the male gender because they are the ones that like set the rules, and there's I won't agree with most of the rules because majority of the rules is unfair towards females, you know, and like if. Like men, sometimes they don't put themselves in, like, how can I say? They don't put themselves in female shoes. Like, if I was how would I feel if I was treated this way, if I have to follow this specific rule?
Can you give me maybe one of the rules that you don't agree with?
Like, for example, men being head of the home. I think some men, well, in my society and from where I'm from, most of the men are useless because they like leave, how can I say, single mothers to raise their own parents. So, I mean, how can you leave a woman on her own to raise children? But some women, I respect them for that because they're strong and successful in raising their children, keeping their heads up and providing.
Okay, so maybe let's move to Mxolisi before get like wena Melody. Kibuthise abuti Mxolisi. Mxolisi, uwakabani sifani butwami?
Isibongo Mbulawa.
Mbulawa. Would you be okay ge mosadi wa hao a ka nka ya ka surname?
Angeke kwenzeke lokho.
Why papa?
Phela nami ngiyindoda and nesibongo
sasekhaya. Phela ukubambela imic, mina ngizama umfati manje ngubambela imic. Yeah.
Ngisho ukuthi nami ngiyindoda and like nginesibongo sasekhaya sokuthi kumele ngikhulise ikhaya la kababa.
Yeah.
Yes. So mengizothatha isibongo somfazi, which means now it's like sibala makoti.
Yeah.
You understand? It's like manje ngiyakuwe efamily yakho, which means like ngeke manje ngikwazi ukwenza amadlozi wami like ngisekini.
So, awakhe amadlozi wona asalela kuphi?
Like being a woman, like it's something ukuthi it's cool, I understand.
Yeah.
It's something ukuthi like you know ukuthi mukhula ufuna ukushada at the age mhlambe of 25, you understand. At that moment, which means from age of 10 maybe to 25, you are ready and prepared ukuthi uzoya kuphi uyohlala ekhabo, understand.
Okay.
So no, it's like it's something else ukuthi mina ngaphila khabo mfazi ngesibongo sakhona.
Hey, yathosa taba ya bayibolelang ke buti Mxolisi because at the age of 10 already ngwanyana already gore a tswe ko ntlong ko motseng wa bona a ye to somebody else's, and she's already accepted gore her surname is going to change.
And indlela esikhulise ngayo, I mean, it's all I know, and it makes me ask the question, maybe Putwami, are we the reason that women feel like patriarchy is growing, and are we the gatekeepers as I've been listening?
Right, sanibona ngegama ngosicelo kaNdlovu Isibongo.
Yeah.
Ngikholelwa ekuthenini we are not the gatekeepers of this. Into umuntu asuke nayo ekhaya.
Okay. Ungakhohlwa ngemic ya. So bothi into nayo ekhaya uchaza ukuthini? Mhlambe nginike example ukuthi kanjani when you understand kanjani?
Let's take it to the gender roles ekhaya. So okay, indoda iyenza kanje nakanje, umfazi wamela yenze kanje nakanje. Umuntu usuka khule nayo leyo nto.
Okay, so ngizobuza yokugcina. So kusho ukuthi ubaba bengasasebenzi, umama osebenzayo. Kusho ukuthi umama sekuyi-head of the house.
Cha.
Okay.
Angivumi.
Angengiphikiso mhlawumbe siswami ngabe une-opinion difference. Siswami, how do you feel about what he's saying? Just because now the man no longer cannot provide as the role says, then now the mother provides. Why can't we call her the head of the house?
Because umuntu wesifazane udalelwe ukuthi alalele umuntu wesilisa.
Ile ndlela ibona ngayo wena.
Yeah, iopinion yami ukuthi
ngilalela
ukuthi ubaba uthini, but if ngibona ukuthi irule le ayisethayo iyangicindezela, I have a say ukuthi cha.
Hey, but sisikufake nawe sizwe ukuthi wena uthini, because usisi uyamuza uthini ukuthi yena ubelieve ukuthi it's something that njengabantu besifazane they were born to do. When uthini?
I believe ukuthi patriarchy into yethu thina amajida yabona yeah ngokuthi yithi setha ama rules and anye ukuthi umjida ufuna ukudependa kuyo chere.
But depend bro, come on, uyazi nawe iqiniso kunaba nezindlu we umama kuphela uyosebenzayo.
But like even if iba kanjalo like bayakunyaza ekasi ukuthi halo yabona. So somehow now like esomjida fana u protect reputation yakho ubindoda uzimele yabona. Unakekele ichere yakho hayi ukuthi yena
anakelele wena.
Yeah.
Yo, ngiyakuzwa awuthama. Ake size ukuthi bathini ku Facebook kancane.
I am of the view that patriarchy isn't only entrenched in our society, but it starts in the Bible. Naturally, men are born leaders. It's within as men to be recognized as leaders. The problem for women is that they want to be on the same pedestal and have the same rights as men. For equal opportunities, it's fine, but there is no way men can empower women. God created them that way. Because religion yo because at the end of the day and I cannot wait, Melody, for the times that we're going to be living in where knowing how to cook is a human thing, knowing how to clean after yourself is a human thing and not a thing that is assigned to basadi.
Let's quickly go to that break and when we come back we'll continue with the show.
Back on Daily Thetha. If you have just joined us, patriarchy. Who actually perpetuates your system ya gore bontate ke bona ba beyang molao go dintlong go society go mmerekong ka mka di institutions re di tseba re phelang ka tsona mo South Africa. Re nyoko ibutsisa taba re nyoko ikwa ga botsi na and I'm joined by two beautiful ladies. Welcome to Daily Thetha. We've got Ayanda Baroto and we've got Gaby Farber. Welcome to Daily Thetha.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
I think for somebody to join patriarchy king, what is patriarchy in your understanding? Anybody can go.
Gaby, you go first. For me, patriarchy, I think, is when a man has control over a woman.
Yeah.
And how I see this, if I had to explain this to someone else, it's not, control can take many different forms.
Okay.
It can be taking away a woman's voice.
Okay.
It can be saying what a woman needs to be in society, in their home, what a woman needs to look like. It's when a man is telling a woman what a woman is.
Okay. And
I quite agree with that. For me, patriarchy is really the narrative that women ascribe to that men have developed for women.
Okay.
So, Tina, as abantu besifazane, we have never had the opportunity to come up with our own narrative of who we are.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that have perpetuated this narrative is because of our own ignorance as women about who we are and our identity.
Yeah.
And the identity that society ascribes to us. I think in a nutshell, that's what I think patriarchy is.
Just to jump in there, because I mean, you speak in terms of the way being from what women are contributing to the actual movement in itself. I mean, back in the day, we had queens that were leading men. You know, we had people that were put on a pedestal. And do you believe Abantu Besifazane have played a role maybe in not changing things at the moment? Because I feel like by Uma or Auntie not raising the new age daughter in that direction,
you can't underestimate what colonization did to our people. Because so many people like to say Isintu or African culture is patriarchal and it dominates the woman. When in actual fact, when we go back to what Isintu is, this is not how it used to be. This wasn't how it used to be. But we've come to a place where our culture has evolved to a state where now the status quo is what it is.
Sure.
But we can't underestimate what colonization did and what colonization did to introduce patriarchy to our people. And I think that's a conversation for another day.
No, I actually want to get in. Sorry, Ayanda. Are you then saying patriarchy is actually a Western culture?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. You know, thina zabantu abamnyama, women babengenandaba nomshado. Abantu besifazane babengashadi. It was okay to be single as umuntu besifazane. It really was. Our women worked. It was Western women who didn't work.
Yeah.
Our women worked. We worked the fields. Sasineyinkomo zethu, sasiyilimela. We had our own wealth. You know, sasizenzela amacansu ethu, and we would sell. You know, women were economical. They contributed to the economy of the community, of the society.
So but because as a young person, I'm trying to understand but
is it the colonization, as you said?
Well, definitely the introduction of colonization, which twisted and manipulated how women were seen and how the role of umuntu wesifazane was seen in the home and in society. I mean, one of the things we were talking about earlier on was that somebody brought up the issue of why women could not be queens or rule over a nation. And it's not entirely true, because they did. Umgabai, for instance, who is the sister to Senza Ngakhona, who boss the king Ushaka. Umgabai, for instance, didn't marry because she did not want to give up her power, because by then she understood, Uguti, if I got married, I would have to sacrifice myself to the family into which I'm getting married into. And so as a result, women stayed away from getting married so that they would retain their power. But it's not to say that women could not rule. The issue was that patriarchy was afraid that if women ruled, they would move away with the power.
All right. And I think maybe it's time to really say Gabby back into the conversation, because I think I like the contrast of the two of you sitting here, right? Your culture is deeply rooted in the Western ways. So maybe if you can tell us what is being taught in your homes as somebody who comes from a Jewish family in terms of patriarchy, in terms of the man ruling.
So I think it goes back to, as you've done, going back to your history and going back to the roots. And if we look in our Bible, we call it the Torah. We have matriarchs. We have some matriarchs who stayed at the home, and some matriarchs, such as Devorah, who went into fought wars, who was a prophetess, who was a judge. And we have constantly these both women, both representations and characters. But then came the problem, is that the Torah got translated by men. And it got interpreted by men just because women couldn't read, they couldn't write. And for so long, the woman's voice was left out of this discussion. And so I think this creates a huge problem, because how a man will look at a story, how a man will interpret a biblical story is very different to how a woman. And now this has translated into our homes and into how Judaism is viewed, because we're reading that God is a man. We're reading how this woman looks, how this woman talks from a male perspective.
And maybe let's bring in Leonora. Can you just please pass the mic on to her and maybe get an understanding of, for you, who do you think patriarchy benefits? Also as somebody who comes from the Jewish culture, of course.
Absolutely. I think patriarchy will always benefit the men and never the women. I think that's quite a definite statement. I think particularly in our Judaism, it's been quite interesting actually. I'm a secular Jewish person, so even me and Gabby are quite different. She's more religious than I am. So that kind of heterogeneity, even within Judaism, is interesting, that you can be a secular woman and still find your place within the Jewish identity.
When you say you're a secular woman, can you quickly give us a differentiation between yourself and Gabby?
So it's purely on how we practice Judaism. One is more religious, one not so religious in plain terms. So Judaism does create, in this new world, in this new generation, there has opened a space for women to be drawn into the religion and for a relearning and a reinterpretation of certain aspects of the Torah. Like Gabby mentioned, there's a lot of women that perhaps were left out of the stories that we were told when we were young and are now reappearing, which is really interesting and really nice to be involved with right now.
And it's just such an amazing opportunity to learn. I'm learning a lot, because I didn't know the difference, as you say. But also in that, at home, how many young people know the difference, the impact of when you talk about, patriarchy and how deep it goes? Because I mean, in our friendships? Where do we draw the line in conversation?
I think I also want to spendele a picture of patriarchy in action. So that even the young person at home who's listening right now to be able to recognize it.
Yeah, and I think that's a good question because we often talk about patriarchy, but we don't talk about how patriarchy shows up.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So I'm a girl. I'm born into a family of 2 boys who already exist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I'm born and raised to understand that the power authority in the family is my father.
Yes.
That is patriarchy embedded, indoctrinated in me.
Yes.
Because already you are being told, Ubaba is the head of the home, right? So who do we ascribe power to? Men. Immediately.
Yes.
And then I go to church, right? I'm baptized by some white dude.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Male white dude, right? As I grow up, I'm told, you must sit with your legs like this, uvale, so that bengezukubona la, right? Because my bebola nala awuhloniphi, you are not respecting yourself, right? And I'm told, ungagqoki izinto emfishane, you know, cover your body, right? And then as we grow, my brothers go bona bayo funda ukudrive before me.
Yes.
So.
Right. And I don't.
Because you don't need to learn
Because you don't need to learn how to drive.
Okay.
You're a girl. You're a girl.
Yeah.
You're a girl. Mabebuya esikoleni fanele wenze sure ukuthi ubenzela ukudla badlile. In fact ufuma kade engekho mayebuya la uzobuya buza Ayanda akuphekiwe ngane endlini. There are 3-4 other men. Yeah, bahleli, right? So I think it shows up in a number of ways, and then of course you're thrust into the workplace, you know, and you're female and you're made to feel like you don't deserve the position that you're in. And again, your voice taken away from you, and being told that we're emotional when we try to put our point across, or we're angry when we try to put our point across.
Because we actually had a show, we wanted to see if young people knew about the queens and the women that fought during the apartheid system. And let me tell you, it was actually so sad for me because we didn't know them. And it's those kind of stories. And I think it's what Ayanda's painting, it just generally comes across who are leading us. But let's go to an ad break. When we come back, we carry on with this conversation. Welcome back. Serara sa rena sa lekgono mo ga Daily Thetha re lebella taba ya patriarchy. Re nyako tšiba rena ke bo mang ba perpetuatang, ke bo mang matshwareng system yo ba ngangarela ba nyako they don't want to let go of it. And we need to understand now what actually is the impact of yona patriarchy. We're looking at having this conversation with Koresani Masanganyi, who is the managing director of an engineering consultancy. She actually founded it herself. Well done, and actually welcome to Daily Thetha.
Thank you.
And then we've got our gender activist, our favorite Mbuyiselo Buota. Welcome back to Daily Thetha. And I think patriarchy, especially in the workplace. Who perpetuates it, Koresani?
Well, the thing about patriarchy is that it no longer has a face.
Okay.
You know, I've heard a lot of speakers talk about men.
Yeah.
But currently, you know, if you look at it, it's a system of power that requires dominance of a person over another.
Okay.
Right? And it devalues that person. It says you are not equal.
Okay.
And the reality is that it is something that has been passed on from one generation to another.
Yes.
And if you understand a system is something that you educate a person and they pass it on to the next generation.
Yes.
And after that, it's self-maintaining. It
Yeah, it
doesn't
becomes
need
a norm.
Yeah, it doesn't need a person to do anything.
Yeah.
And basically, when we look at the workplace, when we look at men, they're just instruments in that system. And currently, we're starting to see the rise of women becoming those instruments, taking the form that men used to take. Because by virtue of women being emancipated and empowered to fill up certain positions, and things still do not change, and women still feel subjected to patriarchy, you start to question who is doing what.
And I think it's interesting because one of the young ladies on the insert actually mentioned what you're saying, to say, in actual fact, patriarchy is also not great for men.
Yeah.
And I think that's nice, having this conversation, it now has a different face.
And maybe have you experienced it when Ukula in your journey as an entrepreneur, as a managing director?
I think, you know, it's so entrenched in our society, right, that it takes institutions to either dismantle patriarchy or to reproduce it, right? And by that I mean, on a daily basis, we are faced with it as women. I'm an engineer, right? And a majority of the women that work with me are females. And we work in an industry that is really male-dominated. And one of those industries is the mining sector. So when we rock up, from here, I will go somewhere, right? And I'm dressed the manner I'm dressed. The minute you step in there, are you an engineer? What are you going to do? Yes. But just because I'm wearing heels doesn't necessarily mean I am incapacitated to execute the work that I'm supposed to do. So I am defined by how I look, right? And I am an object based on how I present myself and the specific presentation that I need. When I walk into a boardroom, I'm already not an equal.
Right? You're already judging me based on it. And Tate Mbuyiselo, just a quick question, I think, just from what Kurisani has said. If your patriarchy is now a system that no longer has a face and it's self-sustaining, what are we supposed to do as men and women? What are the roles that we must both play?
But maybe even more men. Because I mean, I love how we touched on it, but
look, I think we need to, in fact, show, and you mentioned, one of you, that it's bad for men. Imagine a system, the same as racism, which is the same as sexism. Imagine a system that says to you, when you are hurting, it says, no, you're not hurting. Imagine a system that says, when you are vulnerable, it says, no, you are not vulnerable. Something fundamentally wrong about the system. So I need to say to Lereko, my grandson, who's turning 6 tomorrow, that, you know what, Lereko? There is no difference between you and Zukayo Kakambe. What I'm saying is that from an early age, it's even the roles we give them, the roles we give them, that, because look, you don't clean, you clean why should it be that this is only for? So what am I saying? I'm saying that this system, it's fundamentally flawed, but what it does also, it's also, look, it's also not good for men. In fact, feminism is good for all of us. Because feminism says that we're talking about justice.
Equality.
The point I'm making, we must go back emandulo. Re qale fatshe dikolong hore mme wana mametseng TV man. Hore o reng ngwana hae. Ha ngwana ya tla ka tlung wa moshimane alla. Hey, tsamaya. Ka tlolla mona kina. So you grow up understanding, oh, who life is. Oh, who grant mus. Haven't busy and one wanana. Who son had oh, no, don't baby, oh, baby, papa, water, utoba shop. If you don't do it, when when out to papa, water, utoba shop. Papa, utoba shop, when out his one till. And one of another. No wonder banna redula re le strateng forever. O fana go so le 70 o ntse le strateng because o tiyotse le monyenyana
gore tsamaya wena
o tsamaya lo lwana tsamaya o bona into diphila ngaphandle hamba uphila ngabantu.
I guess that's a caller kancane. We have a caller Babini from Witbank. Welcome to Daily Thetha. Sicela ukuzimuzo yakho ukuthi uthini kahle ngale topic ethu namhlanje.
Okay, I know ngandimamela le topic yenu na bhuti. Ngibona i-right kakhulu. Kodwa mina kunezinto endizibonayo ezinye lapha. Mina into endibonayo asikhulanga ngakufana. Uyenze ukuthi ukhulele emakhaya. Xa ukhulele emakhaya into yaziyo xa ungumntwana oyinkwenkwe. Uyathwala kufanele uhambe yokwelusa. Umsebenzi wakho nasesikolweni. Ubuya esikolweni uyokhangela izinkomo. Umntwana ongusisi yena into umsebenzi wakhe xa kuye esikoleni ufanele ayokha amanzi apheke. iqala lapho uthi asikhulanga ngakufana then sibuye ke ebantwini abashadile lapho ifile benzima khona lapha nithethe ngendoda nomuntu ongumama abashadile mina endiyibona lapha yes akufanelanga umuntu ongumama agilazele uthi yonke into eyenziwa nguyena ingabonakali ukuthi ibalulekile noma sekungena osesebenza endlini kungabali kodwa nenye into engavelelwayo kufanele ivelelwe leyelobolo kuba xa kufanele silingane manje lapha ekhayeni nelobolo lena mna ndibona ungathi mayikimela ncinci because nelobolo besebenza ngesikhathi sakudala
enekuyona problem
uyibona ukuthi manje umuntu ongutata kunyanzeleke ukuthi makabhatale ilobolo xa sebhatala ilobolo manje ufanele manje kuzoethwa ntoni manje sekulapha kwakhe yile nto imnikeza amandla uthi yena ufanele ntoni abe yi-head of the house kuba manje ubhatale ilobola uthini kanti nayo into yakudala kuba kuthiwa manje ukhanselwa zonke into ezibona ngathi bezibacinezela abantu abangomama makujongwe nezigcinezela abantu abangotata umuntu ongotata makangabonakali ukuthi kunyanzelekile ukuthi ufanele abhatale ilobola esikame siso ngabathi makube into ebonisa ukuthi kanye into ofanele
buti
uyabona
ixesha manje uxolo manje sekuthi isikhathi but I think I want to take his point which is such a profound point ukuthi we've grown up emphakathini engafani abanye bakhulele lokushini abanye bakhulele emakhaya and abanye grew up in the city so it becomes a thought that makes me think besibuye ku-Outbreak sikhuluma ngayo kancane ukuthini from us transferring these skills that we've now learned to the workplace and how do women play a role against each other also but kwamanje icalise ku-Outbreak besibuya siqhubekele inkulumo yethu. Welcome back to Daily Thetha la ku SABC 1 la qhubeka khona inkulumo yethu and of course if mhlawumbe uqeda ungena endlini ngicela ukuthi nje ukhululeke hamba ku Facebook page yethu ukwazi ukuthi ubone ku live ukuthi yonke into besikhuluma ngayo ukuthi nama guest wethu akhulume athini about certain things but for now ngicela ukuthi nje ubheke kancane uMamlina who is of course the wife of ubaba Mhlophe ukuthi yena ucabangani about patriarchy.
Ngumama and ngiyakwazi ukuzimela ngiyakwazi ukuzenzela ngiyathembela kakhulu ekukwazini ukuzenzela kubaluleke kakhulu njengomuntu wesimama kodwa akusho ukuthi mangabe ukwazi ukuzimela uba ngaphezulu kwababa ngikwazi ukuzihlukanisa ngokuthi ngizazi ukuthi ngumama njengomama okholwayo ongumfundisi futhi ngikwazi ukuthi ngihlukanise ngokuthi izwi lithini izwi lithi ubaba uyinhloko so mina ngibelievele ekuthini mina nobaba silingana kodwa sifanele sibonisane ezintweni kodwa ke ukulingana ngeke silingane and ngibelievela futhi ukuthi ubaba akabekwanga yithi ukuthi abe inhloko ubaba wabekwa nguNkulunkulu ukuthi abe inhloko so if ngumama okholwayo kufanele ubaba ngimnikeze indawo yakhe and nobaba naye akwazi ukunginikeza indawo yami njengomama ngiyeza ukuthi abanye abakholelwa ukuthi umama angaba umfundisi kodwa into engingathanda ukuyisho ukuthi ubizo uyabizwa sino Deborah abebebiziwe ezwini ababehamba phambili ababengena la kusaba khona amadoda kodwa Deborah bangena uyabona ngoba mawubiziwe uNkulunkulu uyakubiza kubeke ukuthi uyenze into ayine nakhona naku ministry akusho ukuthi uNkulunkulu njengoba engibizile wangibeka wangenza ngoba umama wangenza ngaba umfundisi okusho ukuthi angisahlonipha abobaba abafundisi ngiyabahlonipha and ngibanika indawo yabo siyahloniphana ngoba enye into engibelivela kuyabona ngisho uJesu mayevuka umuntu wangibona kuqala ubani uMaria ngithi wathuma bani wathuma yena ukuthi hamba ubatshela ukuthi asiyohlangana kuphi eGalilee ukhombisa ukuthi uyathunywa nomuntu wesimame ukuthi akawenza umsebenzi oyenziwayo abantu besilisa kodwa kusho ukuthi uma umuntu wesimame wenza umsebenzi oyenziwa nabantu besilisa okusho ukuthi usumuntu wesilisa ukulingana komuntu wesimame nomuntu wesilisa nobaba emsebenzini omama kudala baba ama-manager omama ba-manager ba-manager emakhaya obaba bedle phansi umama manager ume umuzi so ngiyabelivela-ke ukuthi emsebenzini umama uyafanele naye nikezwe ithuba mangabe kufanele aqhube ngoba uzoqhuba asithi kuyenzeka ngithanda ukuya kulento yokuthi abobaba bamakhosi vele bamakhosi abobaba ngisagcizelela bayinhloko obaba zemisi. Kodwa ke kuyaboniswana ukuze ufune umsizi ukuthi uzobonisana nomsizi. Nawe uma unomsizi endlini uyabonisana nomsizi wakho. Awuveli ufike wena ube ubhongoza nje. Ufuna lo msizi lo akusize eyintweni la wena ohluleka khona. Ukuze abe umsizi kusho ukuthi khona nawe la ohamba uhluleke khona. Into ebalulekile ukubambisana. Bathi united we stand, divided we.
Yazi uMamlina Kama has put so many interesting points. Wabeka izinto ezenza ngicabanga njengomuntu omusha. But it also wants me to probably ask a couple of questions as a boy child, you know, emphakathini. Firstly, let me welcome, of course, Pastor Mancha, who comes in from, I believe, the Church of Jesus Christ in Midrandi. But sis, because I mean, I feel like this is close to home, Tina, as from a traditional element. Mina, I saw accept where she's accepted Laekon, and she believes in the system, and she says it works for her. How do we then also separate that from umuntu omusha who doesn't know the difference of accepting something that should change or to say no, but mini angsebenzen?
Imfundiso, we have to go back to imfundiso.
Yeah.
From ekuqaleni ukuze abantu abasha bakwazi ukuzenzela wabama choices ngokuthi then what works for me. But let's put the truth on the table and let it be bare for all to see. We understand asingabi ne perspective yeah the now ne manje ukuthi manje kwenziwa kanje. Kuningi oku-interesting uMamlina kushoyo angifuni ukuphendula njengobusho naye indlela naye aphila ngayo indlela enza ngayo. Kodwa ngiyaye ngiyibuze ke mina the very first page in my book actually is a conversation between myself and God where I ask God ukuthi uNkulunkulu mawukuthi kuthiwa sidalwe in your likeness and in your image, all of us are made in your likeness and in your image, would it then be possible ukuthi you manifest kumuntu wesilisa as a superior God and you manifest in me as umuntu wesifazane as an inferior God? I would love the church to answer that for me.
Hey.
And I think Pastor Mancha ukar kenela ga yona wa re fetolela gore na sesi I understand I botsiseng. But let's start there. Maybe you can answer that and then I'll come back to the question I wanted to ask.
So actually that's the verse that she mentions Genesis 1:26. It's the verse that I was actually going to start from. So listen to it carefully and allow me to quote it. It says in Genesis 1:26 it says, and God said, let us create man, M-A-N. It's not gender. It's men and it's human beings. He says, let us create men. And he says, let us create them in our image according to our likeness. Then it clearly says, male and female, he created them. So it's very important that we understand that we are dealing with a God who is a spirit. And when he creates us in his image according to our likeness, that's why both of us are created in the image of God. But when you look at us, we don't look the same. Some are white, some are Indian, some are black. Even when we are black, we don't look the same. But we are created in the image and likeness of the God spirit. So when we deal with God, we don't deal with gender. And I think for me, that's the most fundamental thing, that when you start to bring God into this discussion, you have to remove gender from it, because look again in Galatians what it says, there is now therefore no male or female. Because when God, even when you read the Bible, yes, the reason why you find a lot of gender in the Bible is because, as I think you said earlier, Gabi, it's written by a person and they are interpreting it from their context. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, and I think, Pastor, maybe it's a great time for scripture so that everybody keeps interpreting or by maybe you can interpret it for us so that we all are on the same page.
So where does that verse come from? So you know what the biggest problem that we have with the Bible is that the Bible is the book that is studied casually but discussed as if the people who are discussing it are experts. So we can sit here, we read a verse, and when we start to talk about it, if we were talking about engineering, I'm an engineer, Korisani is an engineer, and I would want to assume that you guys are not engineers. If we talk about an engineering subject, when the two of us say something engineering related, you'd probably pause a little bit before you oppose us.
Of course.
But when we speak about the Bible, every person, even the one who doesn't go to church, every person is an expert. So So let's go to the book of Corinthians, where we hear Paul responding to a letter that was written to him by the Corinthian church, asking him certain context, asking him certain questions. When he answers the questions, he answers them within a certain cultural context, which does not exist right now. I'm 42 right now. I'm unmarried. When you come to speak to me and you tell me that a man must be my head, which man exactly?
So you're saying
so we are headless in my house. But actually in my house, we are not headless. There is a lot of order because there is a woman in that place who is made in the image and likeness of God, who is in charge. And again, when we think about a head, think about your own head and think about your head leading the legs in terms of walking. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's very important that we understand that certain things, when the Bible describes them or when the Bible speaks to them, it speaks to them in terms of roles, not necessarily in terms of position. So now we want to ascribe all leadership to men simply because a couple of verses said men must be heads in their households within a context where at that time in Corinth, almost every adult woman was married, which is not our context.
As you've just spoken a mouthful, you know, and on this question. I mean, coming into being a pastor, have not been really welcomed, you know, and you'd find the challenges that they've gone through in this journey. I want to understand from you, who were the contributors in your challenges, if I'd use gender, male or female, who contributed mostly, but also how was that journey?
So, you know, I don't want to think my journey is special, but for me, my biggest cheerleaders have been women. So the reason why my ministry is standing, the reason why I speak in as many places as I speak, some deep rural, some super urban. I mean, I'm from Limpopo. I did not even grow up in this urban context. I come from a rural place. I grew up in the township. So the reason why doors have opened to me in different churches, big and small, rural, urban, township, is because women are the ones who are opening doors for me. But the second thing that I must also highlight is the men who saw what patriarchy had done to the women and who wanted to bring a picture and to say, you know what, a woman can do these things. A woman can preach. In my case, a woman can be an engineer. A woman can be in business. To the point that even when they do introduce me in those audiences, they make sure that they speak about all these things. And lastly, they will even add sometimes, you know, to the point where I don't even appreciate it, they'll even add, and she is unmarried. Because in their world, they are saying, you are an adult, even when you are unmarried, because sometimes our context wants us to believe that when you are unmarried, you remain a child. But I believe that narrative is changing, maybe not in as large a scale as we would want it to, but we just have to continue. And if we don't continue, then it won't be institutionalized.
Let's maybe read some social media. Biblically, a woman is not above a man. So basically what a woman must submit to a man. So what I say, you have to obey. Another biblical fact, God created man in his image and woman in an image of a man. So a copy cannot have more value than an original paper. Women should just submit under a man.
I get it.
She's already...
Well, she's best placed. But also, I think, I don't want to be an expert, I think you don't submit to any other man. You know, there's a particular man you submit to. But also submission for me doesn't necessarily, you can't characterize it as oppression. But here's the point. In the interpretation, scriptures, be they the Torah, the Bible, you know, the Quran, that's where the problem is. Because look, and you know, it's like saying, unless lions write their stories, we will dominate the narrative.
From the hunter.
Absolutely. So unless you find women who would in fact talk about what it means, you know, the oppression or even interpreting scriptures. So we have to be very careful as to the interpretation is, because it benefits us. Earlier on, how to be powerless, and how not to be powerful. There is how a lovely breakfast. You guys, everything we protect yourself.
But when we come back. Welcome back to Daily Thetha la ku SABC 1 again. La siyavala khona ke sithi sibambe kancane sithi nike unithuba ukuthi usifonele, which is always very simple. 011-1319 or 011-339-1315. We have a caller igama ukuthi Bashibe. Bashibe, welcome to Daily Thetha from Western area.
Hello, kunjani Meya?
Ngiyaphila baba unjani?
Ngiyaphila nami.
Kunzima akungena endabeni sizwe ukuthi wena umcabango yini?
Yeah, mina ipoint yami ifushane kakhulu. Ngothanda ukubingelela lapha e-studio ini nonke.
Yebo.
Mina, there's only one thing engithanda ukuyikhuluma ukuthi we are all born equal.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Into enkulu ukuthi patriarchy, when I define it, is an abuse of power by men, you know? And then remember, in scriptures, we are told that men, both indoda and umfazi, were given control over all animals. And once you abuse your power as men, then that is called abuse. We understand?
Yeah.
And now, in a situation of a man and a woman, I normally, when I go to weddings, and I hear people saying, the man is the head of the house.
Okay.
And I add on top of that, and I say, don't leave it there. A man is the head of the house, and the woman is the neck of that head. For that head to function, that neck must also function. So it's one unit. That's how we're supposed to be living together, both men and women. So in nature, there are certain things that we cannot change and be with.
Yeah.
Only a woman can carry a baby in a womb for 9 months.
Sure.
The sun can only set from the east, and it can only rise from the east and set in the west.
But Bashibe, sibonga
That's
kakhulu
nature.
ukuthi uthatha ithuba ukuthi nje ukwazi ufone in studio. I mean, ipoint lakho ngiyalizwa, and it goes back to the question besikhuluma ngayo Nicolette, whereby when they're saying there's a head and then there's a neck, but in the absence of a head, sebenzisa that title. Shuthi umqala wona ngeke usasebenza. Angazi noma ngizwa kahle.
I think it's what Ntate Buyisele said. Interpretation is such an important part. And maybe my brother wanna look question about lokuthi sa Pastor Mancha re ko gore na yen o re keng kana papa.
Igama uSolomon Bhengu bengicela ukuthi ngidlulise umbuzo wami lapha kumfundisi. Ngizwe ukhuluma lapha eqaleni ukuthi uNkulunkulu wathi nedala umuntu wathi udale man. Wasuthi azange asho ukuthi udale awuyikhiphele ngaphandle umuntu wesimama okuyifemale. Engifuna ukubuza kuwe engadini leyase Eden lapha uAdam ayekhona. uNkulunkulu wafi kwamdala eyedwa wayekade ewumuntu wesilisa. Wasebona ngokuthi unesizungu wasethi hayi yithike ngumdalela umsizi wakho wakhipha ubambo kuAdam wamdalela ubani uEva. Manje ngifuna ukubuza ukuthi kanti lokho ukuthi ngoba phela uEva wayekade ewumsizi kaAdam kungena kanjani manje kushuthi manje kahle labantu umuntu okuthiwa iman nomuntu okuthiwa woman akekho noma kwenzakalani lapho sengithanda ukudideka.
Okay, sure answer. Yes, Pastor. Hey, re ke bolele spade. So o itheleja ka mo go Genesis I hope uta kwa spade. Akere le nna go itheleje ka se. Ke tla mo translate. Go Genesis ya pele verse 26. Mudimu ube a bulela the design. Ube a bulela, you know how pele u agantlo. What design? Wa ngwala plan mo fase. So Mudimu ube a ngwala the design ya human beings gore all human, not just Adam and Eva, because go chapter 2 go thoma o bulela ka yona o bulela ka batho ba babedi eleng Adam and Eva a o sa bulela ka batho ka moka eleng nna le wena wa ibona ka mogebeng ka ona. So kua go Genesis 1:26 Modimo o be a bopa rena ka moka o be a bulela ka the plan of the human beings, all of us. Then kua mankind, thank you very much. Then kua go chapter 2 ibe ile mo
o thomile ka Adam akere a bopa Adam ka letsopa then ga feditse a ntsha Eva ka mogare ga kgopo ya Adam bona ntse sa ntse nna mantšha ka re ga kgopo ya Adam so nna se nna rib because now as a woman ke tshwantse ke sepele mo lefaseng ke nna re ke nna kgopo ya somebody so the reason why I feel incomplete bjale ka mosadi is because ka mo tlhogong yaka ke nagana gore ke nna kgopo ya motho Eva ke kgopo ya Adam e seng gore nna mantšha ke nna kgopo so even if nka tlhokofala ke sanka ka nyalwa I am complete because I am not a rib of someone because women are going around thinking ish mara ke nna rib mang Joe Jack John so no jola le fast ka mo
banna be le baruti hai man ntate moholo le nkgolo ba utlwe banna be leng baruti haholo ba irata ena ba tseba ho baneng ba irata hobane e le ntate e bontsha bona e bontsha ona moholo ona monyenyana a tswileng ripping o monyenyana a entsweng wa bona ba rata ntwe ko di ntwena ya power
nako e fedile jwale tshwantse re tsamaye and but most importantly tomorrow re bua ka load shedding and as abantu abasha how does it affect us
thank you so much bye